It's with great pleasure at this time that we transition to our next presenters with the Equitable Detroit Coalition. Coming first, and in this order, will be Mr. Ken Harris, who is the President and CEO of the Michigan Black Chamber of Commerce and also serves as a board member for the Detroit branch in ACP. He'll be followed by Ms. Mildred Robbins of the West Grand Boulevard Collaborative and the Honorable Rashida Tlaib of the Sugar Law Center for Economic and Social Justice and Detroit NAACP board member as well. So let's welcome Mr. Ken Harris at this time.
Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope that everyone is doing well. Thank you again, Rebecca, for always enlightening us on ways that we can help better our solutions for those who have the least amount of opportunity to fend for themselves. It's actually relative to this community benefits scenario. Thank you, NAACP and Donnell and Camellia. Really, the fire behind this whole discussion today is Rashida, and we have to thank her for her leadership. She called on a lot of us to be here today, and I know the order specifically changed. We have actually Miss Crosby here, Miss Crosley, excuse me, in place of Mildred Robbins, and also Deborah Williams with a whole bunch of acronyms behind her name as well, to speak briefly to you, and then we'll go into a full presentation with Rashida, and she has a lot of information to get to you. Most importantly, Equitable Detroit Coalition has been at this for quite some time now. The leadership of Linda Campbell and Reverend Ross has been absolutely tremendous on this subject matter, and is relative to what we're all experiencing. I'm sure you all have read the papers. You've heard of the two Detroits and all of the major developments going on between downtown and New Center. And then you go into the neighborhoods and you see virtually no existence of economic development whatsoever. Actually, it looks like a depletion of economic resources and synergy. And so to have an organization like EDC pull us all together, and those groups that are represented with EDC is People's Platform and the Sugar Law Firm for Social and Economic Justice, in which, you know, it's important to have lawyers committed to this because this is a serious policy matter. But most people would not know that CBAs are a very integral piece to what I believe as a return on investment in the business community. A little bit about myself. I represent the Michigan Black Chamber of Commerce, which is one of the largest African-American chambers in the country. But we also are the voice for the more than 32,000 African-American businesses in the city of Detroit, which is ranked number 4 in the entire country behind New York, LA, Chicago, and number 4, of course, is Detroit. But most importantly, 90% of those 32,000 firms are between 1 and 10 employees, folk looking for work, folk who are out here who weathered the storm through the recession, who kept our economy going in the neighborhoods when everybody else had forgotten about Detroit, and individuals who are looking for partnership, strategic alliances, joint venture opportunities, and more importantly, a large population of skilled and trade associated individuals who are looking for work. So this is important to us, that when you have large scale developments coming in the city and they are asking for some form of public subsidy or tax abatement, which comes off or is a burden of the taxpayer in this case, or what I should say from a business acumen is you all have put skin in the game by paying taxes. And so your skin in the game gives you an equitable right to a partnership with individuals who want to see their business prosper in this wonderful city. And so with that being said, always give, you've heard all of these scare tactics and propaganda that's been out in the community. Oh, this is the shakedown law, and, you know, folks who are looking for opportunities only want to shake down the major developers, or the taxpayers really have no voice in this process. All we're trying to do is develop distressed areas. And I can tell you, out of the 57 other CBAs across the country, this is not new. But most importantly, CBAs are for distressed, underserved, disadvantaged, economically challenged, and most importantly, minority communities. And when you think about the city of Detroit, which is estimated at this point in time more than 82% African American, that could have increased or decreased at this time, but still a majority minority population, CBAs make sense. Why is this important? Because when that large-scale development comes into the community, they should have not only the emphasis to talk with the neighborhoods and talk with the community, but build a mutually beneficial relationship that can be rewarding both short-term and long-term. And so the chamber joined this fight because there was one discussion, and that discussion was large businesses totally against CBAs, right? But they totally left out small businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs with trades and vocations and certifications in the community who are looking for opportunities to actually benefit the project both short term and long term. And so representing that small business voice, we feel as though the conversation has changed. As you know, they tried to, the Detroit Regional Chamber and some other folks went to Lansing. They put forward a bill through a Jackson representative to totally eliminate any type of CBA ordinance or executive order of the mayor. Now, to me, we go from emergency management. I thought the EM ended. We went from EM to EM, which is economic management. And so not only is there economic management now coming out of Lansing, we have to be aware that our local control is under attack. And so we need your voices both with our state legislature, and we also need your voice at the governor's office. We need your voices here in the neighborhoods to sound off, to call your representatives. And more importantly, we want our local control to remain to the citizens for over the last few years, really didn't have any control under the EM. So a lot of people, a lot of big businesses got away with a lot of things in a short amount of time. Well, guess what? Now our power has been given back to us. Councilwoman Brenda Jones, who has been an unbelievable stalwart towards this policy and making sure that this ordinance goes through. We support her 100%, and we're going to make this happen along with Rashida. So with that being said, I kind of didn't go exactly through the presentation, but I want to let you know there's been more than 3,000 doors knocked on. There's been more than 2,000 signatures that have taken place in the community. So that tells 90% of the folks that we talk to understand that a community benefits agreement works. That's right. 90% of the people that we talk to say that we will not only support this, but we will advocate for it as well. So we have to make sure that that large-scale project or developer who represents less than 1% of this population does not have a voice that's larger than the 99%. And so that's why we're here today. And most importantly, the Black Chamber of Commerce, we don't mind taking a lead. And matter of fact, if there's any stalling over the next couple months with this CBA ordinance, whether it's an agreement or compromise between the mayor and the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, we are preparing right now for a ballot initiative. So the work has already been done, and this is something that we cannot negotiate. This is like I always tell the major developers. I done sat down with the Illich's groups, the Gilberts, you name it, all of our, and we encourage large-scale development. We want that. We want development in our neighborhoods, but we want an equitable, fair share, and we want a return on investment. And like a business person, I ask the question all the time. When you go to the bank, large-scale developer, and you ask for public subsidies or you ask for a loan, what do they ask you for in return? Well, they want your business plan. They want a 3 to 5 year fiscal analysis. They want to see your credit report and your background and what you've been trying to do as validation that you're going to be a good person. But most importantly, before you even sign the dotted line, before they even give you the money, What is the number one question that they ask? That's right. When are we going to get our money back, and what is the return on investment? So I think I turn that conversation over to Rasheed. Please give her a wonderful round of applause, and we look forward to making sure that this ordinance passes. Thank you.
You did a great job, didn't you?
Yes.
Got me fired up. No, really. I think folks don't realize how amazing the Black Chamber of Commerce and the leadership, of course, of Ken Harris has been, not only in killing the bill last year that was preventing us from even continuing the conversation about a community benefits ordinance at a city level, but he also has been changing the conversation. When folks started attacking us saying we're anti-business, he came forward and said, no, this is pro-business. And he really gave great examples and advocated for us and continues to do so with the mayor. And we really appreciate his leadership again on that. So I want to talk a little bit about the post-bankruptcy and why community benefits movement is growing so strongly and with tremendous support. Is obviously, you know, post-bankruptcy, one of the biggest assets we have in the city of Detroit right now is land, probably most likely because of the blight and because of a number of things that have taken place. But we're going to be the epicenter of urban development, and projects now currently going to break ground that don't have community benefits agreements are worrisome. We know in the past from different projects, it didn't trickle down to the neighborhood. Our residents didn't see those jobs. We didn't see improvement in not only the beautification of our community, but also for us to actually have a seat at the table about how those projects proceed. One that's very close to me, obviously, because I live so close to it and I represented the families for over 6 years in the legislature, is the Bridge to Canada. This is a $2 billion project. Now, I don't want you to underestimate this. This is a bridge to another country. This is going to take about 27% of trade that comes between Canada and the United States. That's a third of trade for our country, our nation. It's a tremendous project that's extremely important. It's the number one transportation project for the country of Canada, for the whole country. It may not be on our side, but it's one of those projects that are vital to that country. It's 165 acre. So the plaza itself is the one that's going to be, I guess, more of the displacement. The bridge itself, not as much because it's piers. It lands in an area that's already pretty cleared out. It's the 165 acre plaza that's going to clear close to 200 homes are going to get displaced. These are occupied homes. This is one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city of Detroit, the Delray neighborhood. 43 businesses will get displaced, including a number of churches. I know of two that are very active with the Community Benefits Coalition that is going to see that, are worrisome that a lot of the things they've done to their church and built up their congregation will go away with this bridge coming through. Recently, and I'm trying to, so that you guys can see, there's also been, in some ways, public subsidies with these projects. In this case, 301 properties recently were sold to the state for only $1.4 million. Now, people say, well, it's Delray, Rashida, what's going to be over there? But the point is, the land just got more expensive because this project needs to land there. So we should have been able, I think, and not giving such a tremendous deal here in that. And if we did do it, then one of the things that we did advocate for and we were able to get through the coalition and through discussions with the mayor is $750,000 of that to go right back into the neighborhood. We're not there yet. It's just talk. That's why community benefits agreements are great, because it's in writing. But this is just conversations right now. So there's no legally binding agreement regarding jobs, air quality, housing. You know, Deborah's here, Williams, who can tell a little bit about the conditions in Delray in regards to why we've been for the last 8 years organizing around this different approach to development through the community benefits agreement. And